Hi, I'm Alicia Whitehead. I'm here with Luke Raven, who is the owner of Ilkley Brewery. Hi, Luke. Could you please,
Hey, Alicia, how you doing?
could you please introduce yourself and give an insight into how you started the business?
Well, yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm Luke Raven. Yeah, the business started in 2009 with a couple of local residents kind of wanting a bit of a change and seeing beer as a way of getting that change. I actually joined shortly after that to kind of look at the sales for the business. And then in that was 2011, 2010, 2011, and then in 2015 completed kind of management buyout of the business. So yeah, we have going for 12 years now. It's been yeah, it's been a lot of fun, a lot of changes. Yeah, a lot of interest along the way.
Yeah, it's a long time, 12 years. Has it been much fun though?
Yeah, and I mean in that time, I think we've brewed over 300 now different beers. We've brewed well over 13 million pints. I read somewhere that that's about the equivalent of 3 Olympic swimming pools worth of beer, which would be a nice dip. And I think part of that has been about consistency and making consistent beer to grow the brand and to get people to be loyal to us. And that's what helps win over new customers, right?
Yeah. So you said your malt is grown in Berwick upon Tweed. What makes it more
That's
favourable
right. Yeah.
malt grown or sourced there than other areas?
Well, we decided a number of years ago to switch our maltsters to a family-owned malting company called Simpson's Malt, and we really did that because of the fact that their malt is just excellent. It was really high quality. They don't actually often take on that many new brewers. They're quite selective about who they work with, and had approached us to say that would we be interested in switching to them, which was really great. You know, for us, it's always been about sourcing the best ingredients, not the cheapest. So it's about the premium quality. And one of the things that really impressed us about them, apart from the fact that the malt was excellent, was how we could work with them really closely to adapt our recipes to look even at seasonal variations. If there's been a different harvest each year, how we can work with them to understand and analyze the malt and what impact that'll make on our beer. Because as I said, consistency is king in this game. And I think there's more breweries in West Yorkshire than pretty much anywhere else in the country per head. So we can't just sit on our laurels and say, oh, well, we've made some good beer in the past. There's a lot of good beer around. And you've got to maintain that consistency and kind of keep pushing forward. So malt being the kind of key ingredient to your beer and the backbone to your beer, it's really important to work with malt that you trust, and that is just of that absolute highest quality. It's also important for us as well to make sure that we had a set supply of UK produce. We're supporting the local UK perspective, the local economy and growers. I'd love to say that all our ingredients for the beer are 100% UK sourced, but getting the best hops means climate wise and so on, getting them from all over the world. But yeah, it's really important to us to be working with well, and it's great that they're northern as well, but working with a UK maltster.
So still thinking about the beer, what gives it its taste, like its unique taste? Is it the way it's processed? Is there a unique
Well,
specific way?
yeah, I would say that we have got like I said, there's lots of great breweries making great beer, but it's the small differences that in the brewing process that can really make it work or not work. Ultimately, you could have the same recipe for a beer and brew it in, change the degree of temperature here, an extra minute there, just the way you're going to build flavor profiles, really. And actually, for us, that all started right at the beginning, and I wouldn't say by accident, but certainly the initial guys, when their first brewing, there was probably more misses than hits. It would be fair to say. But they brewed a beer called Mary Jane. In the first year, it was probably maybe the fifth or sixth beer they brewed, and it won a national gold medal, which was obviously great for a new business to get the recognition. But actually, more importantly, it told the brewing team, "Oh, we've done something right. How have we made this beer?" And so the DNA of that recipe and how it was brewed, more than the actual ingredients, comes through into every beer we make now, whether it's a dark beer, a strong beer, a weak beer, yeah, anything at all. And really, it's about building the profile for us. So, anyone, you could just put all of the hops in one go, and it wouldn't taste the same as if you put a bit in now and a minute later, and then 5 minutes later, and so on. And it's about building that drinking experience that is nice from the first sip right through to the last. And I think that lots of brewers do that. It's not unique to us, but also lots of brewers don't do that. And how often have you had a pint somewhere and it's smelled great and it's the first sip's been really nice, but then actually it's been a bit of a struggle to finish, and you've not had that kind of taste journey, if you like, all the way from start to finish. And so that's been a thing for us, is that whether it's, like I say, whether it's a light beer like Mary Jane is the low ABV beer, or something stronger, it's got to be drinkable. And you've not got a business if no one buys the second pint, right? So that's been key to everything that we've done. And I mean, and now Mary Jane, has from that start, it's 50% still of what we brew. Is our biggest selling beer by far. But really, it's the legacy of how we brew it. Even though our brewing team has changed a lot over the years, and we've gone from that kind of few guys kind of learning how to do it on the job, if you like, to now having a team of technical and qualified brewers and a lab, and we've grown as a business, and so we know what we're doing a lot more. That still remains a kind of bedrock of how we make the beer.
Yeah. Obviously, thinking about the recent economic changes, like your fuel prices going up, your electricity, do you think this will impact the final product? So, like increasing prices?
It won't impact the beer itself. From our perspective, we won't ever cut back on the quality and the ingredients that we have, because of the cost. It's ultimately something that we have to swallow. Will it impact the business? 100%, and it is already. One of our energy providers, the price of gas for one of the units is going up 400%. In next week, which is really upsetting, obviously, and overall our cost of production is going up about 30 to 40% this year on last year. So we don't have to do an awful lot better just to stand still in that sense, because you can't pass that sort of rise on to our customers and the end consumer. So everyone's feeling the bite in that sense, and whether it's diesel for our vans going out, and we're a living wage employer. And have been since the management buyout. So, and we've always tried to, in fact, most of our staff are above the living wage, and that's the proper living wage, rather than the renamed minimum wage. But that's affect a cost of doing business. I think every business has challenges. We had a big Russian part of the business in terms of our export, for example, which we stopped immediately. Recently. So we'll make the right decision for doing the right thing, and that means ethically and quality. Yes, it's going to cost the business more and be more challenging, but we just have to adapt, like we did during COVID. We have to adapt and position ourselves to come out stronger.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So this is the final question. Is the industry competitive, like locally and nationally, and what sets you aside from the competition?
Well, I think that, I mean, the competition is intense, and it has been for years now, really, especially in Yorkshire, and in the wider community. You know, it's against the backdrop of um, drinking habits changing, pubs declining. You know, lot of pubs shutting even before COVID. That was the case. Be it beer, beer overall, in the broader category, drinkers, you know, drinking was down. Um, Even though the independent industry might perhaps be taking a slightly bigger share and showing growth, we've certainly always kind of shown that growth. COVID's accelerated that, and just before COVID, we started an alcohol-free range, which has grown massively. It's now our third biggest selling beer is our alcohol-free beer, and that is a pattern that is here to stay and will grow as part of the sector. I mean, I read somewhere that during COVID, I think about 9 or 10,000 pubs shut, or there were fewer than beforehand. And sadly, I think especially with all of the cost of living kind of crisis and so on, you know, more are going to fall by the wayside. So that kind of intensifies the competition, really, because there's, like I said, lots of good beer around, and so there's a lot of us competing for less taps ultimately. And so it does come right back to the beginning of consistency and quality, and pubs and bars and drinkers going, do you know what, if I'm going to drink less beer, or if I'm going to serve less variety, I need to know that it's going to sell well, that people are going to come back for that second pint, third pint, fourth pint, and they're going to stock beers that they trust and that they know. Whereas, so it was before COVID, for example, we had hundreds of customers where they might order twice a year from us because they were rotating their beers that much, and you were, you know, putting a lot of effort into getting that order. You know, is this the week we're going to send the beer to this pub? And actually, all of the little guest pumps and opportunities have slowed right down, and we're much more focused on our kind of core customer base and keeping that consistent core beer offering kind of there, and growing out from there, really. Because that gives people more certainty, and then other people come on board and see what we're doing. Growing our exports will be a big part of that. But yeah, it's really, well, like I said, like with every business, I think COVID has amplified that. We didn't have a retail business at all. We didn't sell to the public at all before COVID. Had a web shop up and running in that week when they advised people to stop going to the pubs before they actually closed all the pubs. So we had a web shop open in the first few days of that, and it's now a really significant part of our business, and that's something that will continue even now the pubs are open. And it's been great because we're actually engaging with people who are drinking the beer the same week that you know that we're sending it out the door, which is nice to have that direct point of contact. And so things are changing, and it's about being able to adapt. And I mentioned just briefly that it's the wider beer picture is different because you've got all the big global multinational brewers as well. They've not been able to adapt as quickly, and we've had lots of pubs owned by big brewers who are saying, "Oh, can we buy some of your beer because we can't get it from this massive company?" And you can think that, you know, obviously that's great for us, but we've just been able to adapt quickly. So yeah, it's every challenge, I think, has got to be seen as an opportunity, and that's the spirit with which we run our business. Go, okay, right, well, okay, we can't sell here to Russia, or we can't you know, sell them to these pubs because they're not there anymore, but what can we do? How can we still get our beer out there and adapt and grow? And the last 2 years have been massively challenging on all levels, but they've been two of our strongest years as a business, and because we've had to make changes, but we have made changes, we've embraced that, and we've just kind of carried on really from there. So we're looking forward. It's a sunny day, so it's always easier to be optimistic on a sunny day. But anyway, but yeah, that's what we're all about, is looking for opportunities, really.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for your time.
No, not at all.
We hope to see you soon.